2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, the earthquake. On December 26, 2004, at 0 hours 58 minutes and 53 seconds UTC, a massive undersea earthquake struck off the west coast of northern Sumatra, Indonesia. This earthquake, with a magnitude of 9.1, 9.3, was caused by the subduction of the Indo-Australian plate beneath the Eurasian plate. The tectonic plates had been building up stress over centuries, and the sudden release of this energy caused the seafloor to uplift by as much as several meters over an area of approximately 1,200 kilometers, 750 miles, long. The earthquake's epicenter was near the western coast of northern Sumatra, and it was so powerful that it caused the entire planet to vibrate and triggered other earthquakes as far away as Alaska. The tsunami. The displacement of such a vast amount of water generated a series of powerful tsunamis that radiated across the Indian Ocean at speeds of up to 800 kilometers per hour, 500 miles per hour. Within 15 minutes of the earthquake, the first of the tsunami waves began hitting the coastlines of Sumatra, completely overwhelming coastal communities. The waves reached heights of up to 30 meters, 100 feet in some places, striking with the force of a freight train. Devastation across multiple countries. Indonesia. The hardest hit was Indonesia, particularly the Aceh province. The initial impact of the tsunami waves obliterated entire villages and towns along the coast. Banda Aceh, the provincial capital, was almost completely destroyed. Buildings were reduced to rubble, and the sheer force of the water uprooted trees and swept away vehicles and debris. The human toll was staggering. In Aceh alone, over 160,000 people lost their lives. Sri Lanka faced immense devastation as well. The eastern and southern coastlines were ravaged by the waves. Entire families were swept out to sea, and the city of Galle suffered catastrophic damage. In some areas, the tsunami penetrated up to 2 kilometers, 1.2 miles, inland, destroying infrastructure and leaving a trail of destruction. Over 35,000 people died, and many more were injured or displaced. India's southeastern coast, particularly the states of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, was severely affected. The town of Nagapattinam was one of the worst hit areas, where entire neighborhoods were washed away. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands, closer to the epicenter, also suffered significant casualties and damage. The death toll in India exceeded 18,000, with thousands more injured and displaced. Thailand. In Thailand, the tsunami waves struck popular tourist destinations such as Phuket, Krabi, and the Phi Phi Islands. Tourists and locals alike were caught off guard by the rapidly advancing water. The beaches turned into scenes of chaos as people tried to escape the relentless waves. Over 8,000 people died in Thailand, including many foreign tourists. Other affected countries as far away as Somalia on the eastern coast of Africa reported casualties and damage from the tsunamis. The waves traveled across the entire Indian Ocean, affecting countries like Malaysia, Myanmar, the Maldives, and Tanzania. The widespread nature of the disaster highlighted the interconnectedness of the world's oceans and the far-reaching impact of such a massive geological event. Human tragedy and response. The human tragedy of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami was immense. Entire communities were wiped out in minutes, and the death toll continued to rise as the days went on. In addition to the immediate loss of life, millions of survivors were left homeless, traumatized, and in desperate need of aid. The destruction of infrastructure, including roads, hospitals, and schools, compounded the challenges faced by survivors and rescue workers. The global response to the disaster was unprecedented. Countries around the world mobilized to provide aid, with governments, NGOs, and individuals contributing billions of dollars in relief efforts. International aid agencies and military forces from multiple countries launched massive relief operations to provide food, water, medical care, and shelter to the affected populations. Despite these efforts, the scale of the disaster meant that recovery was slow and fraught with difficulties. Long-term impact. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami left an indelible mark on the world. It prompted significant advancements in tsunami warning systems and disaster preparedness, particularly in the Indian Ocean region. The tragedy also highlighted the importance of international cooperation in disaster response and the need for long-term support for affected communities. For the survivors, the psychological and emotional scars remained long after the physical rebuilding had begun. Many lost entire families, and the trauma of the disaster continued to affect their lives for years. The event served as a stark reminder of the power of nature and the vulnerability of human societies in the face of such overwhelming forces. The 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami was a catastrophe of immense proportions, illustrating both the fragility of human life and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity.